Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm super excited about our project we're doing this time. I'm Mrs. Green, and the project we're doing today is inspired by an artist named Louise Nevelson. She was one of the most prominent sculptors of the 20th century, and she's best known for her assemblage work. Remember, we did assemblage before with Cornell. This time we're doing it with Louise Nevelson. And remember, assemblage is taking found objects, found things that don't necessarily go together and creating a composition or a piece with them. Louise Nevelson was best known for her monumental pieces. They would cover an entire wall, or she'd make these huge sculptures out of hers. And she always used mostly, not always, but mostly used found wood. She grew up in a lumber yard, and she liked playing with the wood, and as she grew older and decided to become a sculptor, that's what her medium was. So she would find scraps of wood, different kinds. Some of it was from furniture, some of it was from chairs, tables, some of that was just from construction sites, and she would put them together and create her assemblages with those. And she always made them one color. She made them monochromatic. Monochromatic means one color. So, and often they were black. They could be sometimes white, sometimes yellow. You can check out more of her work at the website below. This is my version of one. But I made mine out of recycled material. Not everybody has pieces of wood lying around the house. If you do, that's great. You can totally use that as well. But everybody has discarded boxes, toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls, little random things that you get in the mail. So you can use those instead of their wood pieces to create your assemblage a la Louise Nevelson. So come on, I'm going to show you how I made mine. Okay, so hopefully you got to look at some of Louise Nevelson's work, and you've gotten to see with my creation, and you've gotten inspiration. I'm going to show you how I made mine. And going over the supplies that you're going to need, you're going to need some recyclables. If you can use cardboard recyclables, cork works really well. Plastic doesn't really hold paint. And remember, our goal is to make this monochromatic, so we're going to end up with one color. And if you're going to use plastic, the paint doesn't hold to it as much. So any recyclable materials that you can find lying around, that's great. And if you have some string, that's good too. Yarn, string, whatever you happen to have around. This way we can do some embellishments to add some more texture to our pieces, because we're not using those turned wood pieces that Louise Nevelson used. Unless you, again, if you happen to have pieces of scrap wood around and you want to do that, awesome, that'd be actually more authentic. But here's a great alternative, and it's a great way to use your recycled materials. And then you need paint. I chose black paint because I have black boxes, so it'll make it easier for me to make it more monochromatic. However, and you can use whatever, tempera, acrylic, watercolor really won't work. If you do not have paint, but you got some of these plastic bags from the grocery store, and you notice they have some white sections to them, you can use those as an alternative to paint. And if they're, as long as they're one color, so if you have whichever kind you find, and I'll kind of show you how you can use this to make it monochromatic as well. So that's an alternative if you don't happen to have paint running around. And of course you need some glue, and you need the liquid glue or tacky glue again. And I think I already said scissors, because you want to be able to cut things up. And I know my toilet paper rolls, a lot of toilet paper rolls do this. They're really sticky, and the toilet paper gets left behind. It's still clean, don't worry about it. And actually it adds texture, so we're going to embrace that. So now the next thing we do, and of course you need a substrate, or which is something that you're going to glue down onto, and it should be a solid thing. So you can use the top of a shoebox. If you have a cereal box, you can cut the top of it off and use the cereal box for that. Make sure you close off the, you glue down the flaps though, so that it creates a solid box. Any other kind of boxes you have lying around. And it doesn't have to be like super thick. It can be thin like this. It's up to you. It's actually easier if it's a little thin because you kind of want them to kind of pop out a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think of my theme. You know, her pieces had themes to them, like at the cathedral or the forest, even though it's very abstracted, and you're not thinking about, it's not going to be like a real depiction, but it kind of has a theme behind it. So kind of think of a theme that you might want to have behind yours. Is it like the forest? Is it a building? Whatever. Again, it's not going to look like that in the end. But we do want to have things that are of various sizes. We want it to be aesthetically pleasing. We want our composition to work. And I have a nice mixture here of round and soft, and you know, corks work really well for that. I really like this piece. It's a little scrap piece that came from some electronics that we got recently, to helping with our making sure we have internet connection, which is super important. And so I'm just going to kind of play around. I'm thinking of my theme. What is my theme going to be? And sometimes looking at your pieces, something will come to you. And if you know, this paper towel roll is so much taller, and then this one's so much shorter. So one other thing I can do is to cut it in half. It makes the surface a little bit harder to glue, but we could do that. And we're not gluing it down right away. I'm going to play around with it. I want to like see what kind of things I do. Oh, see how that looks a little bit better? And I can even flip it this way too to give it a different roll. But that fits a little better there. I don't know, maybe I want this up here. I may end up not even using it. So, and you know, one thing's going in different directions. So maybe I can put this half here and this half there. Ooh, I like that now. This is starting to feel kind of like a city and buildings to me right now. So that's going to probably be where I'm going with that. Maybe we'll get some corks here to add a little. We don't want any negative space. So when I like that this one has a little bump to it, it gives it a little more variety, visual variety. I'm going to move my boxes up to the side right now because I'm not sure, especially when you use them or not. I like my plate paper rolls better cut in half. I think they fit in the box a little better. Oops. Sometimes we drop them when we're cutting them. Okay, just keep cutting. And again, I'm actually thinking of that as adding some architectural detail or some texture to it. See, I got this little building here. I've got a little tile on here. Oh, and I can put this, see if I can get this guy to stay in there. Okay, get you in. Okay, and then I got black because I like these boxes. Ooh, this one's kind of cool because I like that it kind of slopes in a little bit. So it gives me, again, an extra layer, and it also has that feeling of adding to my city block that I'm working on here. Kind of have cities on my brain these days. I have this little slot right here that's not filling in. So maybe if I put my corks this way, nope, the same thing happens. So what if I have my large, maybe I could put this guy here, this guy here. And see, it's really important to move things around, play with them. Ooh, what if we could do a little thing like this? Yeah, I got a nice little pattern happening here. Okay, and then what I can do, and I have this, I don't think I'm going to end up using that. I do have, and it'd be nice to have something a little more square again. So another idea is I could take my cracker box here and I can cut it down. Just keeping in mind that once you cut something, they cut it. So you have to make it work or not, just depending on. But we're using recyclable materials, so it's okay. So I'm just going to cut this edge off of here. And I'm going to cut this part off as well. And I'm going to actually fold it a little bit. And see if I can kind of slide it in to fill in that negative space that I created over there. Okay. Yeah, see how that's... Oh, and I get some really crinkly things with it too. Let me push it a little more. Okay. Get my... And of course things are going to pop and move while you're doing it, but that's okay. You just want to get your sense. And the nice thing about having these paper towel, the toilet paper rolls, roll in those like that. I'll give it a little more squeeze so it stays tighter. I'm going to mess around with it a little bit. Oh, you know, these two should be going this way anyway. So maybe I can make that a little wider in the bottom. I'm going to scooch this guy over here a little bit so it's a little more centered. And then dance. Oh my gosh, that actually filled that in just right. But the question is that just the configuration I want? Is that feeling like I want it to feel? I like that it has a good rhythm to it. But what if I move this down here? Okay, let's get my corks out of here for a second. And then I put this guy at the top instead. That can be interesting. And then I can move these guys, and I give this guy a little, give my box that I created here a little more space to breathe. I'll scooch out a little bit. So I can put these two here. And then I can put just a line of corks here, kind of like a pillar. And then I can put it, oh, these guys are hiding inside my little box here. And I kind of like there's a little sloped open thing, but I don't know if I want the corks all the way inside. Okay, first of all, okay, so let's put that there. And I can put it this direction instead. Ooh, there you go. And then I can put, like I can just glue one here, so it's kind of like at the entrance. Put it on this side so you can't see. Oh, okay. Does want to go inside. Must have a little slope here. Okay, go here, stay, so I can see what you look like. Okay, and then I can scooch this guy in. Do you like that one better? No, I think I liked the other way better. But maybe what I liked better about it was that I liked the rhythm of the corks going down, but I kind of like that this got broken up. And I like how you have this differentiation. And it can, now here's another thought. This direction. And this is the fun thing about abstract work like this, is that, and this is like we did assemblage before, this is a different kind of assemblage, because we are taking disparate things that are different, things that are found, and we're putting them back down together again. But we're just doing it in a different manner than we did before. But it's fun to see, do I like it even better this way? Okay, coming up, and I can stick a cork in here, and I can stick this cork here. It gives you a rhythm of different bump sizes. We got this guy here, and then I'm going to take this one out of here and put it this way. Nope, it doesn't, it's not holding the same way with that. I need something interesting for this spot. This fits, but it's a little tall. Okay, I can put you back in here because that gives it another rhythm to it. So what do I want to put into that space? Maybe I can cut another thing out of here. I'm going to cut this up a little bit, and I'm going to roll it. So for last time I kind of folded it. This time I'm going to give it a little bit of a roll. it just a little more. Here we go. So now I have this mixture of round shapes and these rectangular shapes, and I have yeah, and you've got these streets and rooftops. Okay, yeah, I'm thinking I like it better that way than I did the first way I did it. So see, it's important to play around with it until you get something that's aesthetically pleasing and something that has rhythm to it. And I think I'm kind of liking the rhythm of this. And of course, they'll stop popping apart once we glue it down. It's just when they're there. Okay, so you want to play with it. You want to look around, see what kind of things you like better. Do I like no? Okay, and I think I like this horizontally or vertically. It's sometimes hard to tell. And that's the nice thing about this, because you can look at it this way, and then you can look at it this way, and then you can decide if you like it. No, I don't think I like it that way as much. Or maybe like this. And you can change your you can change its orientation. I'm not feeling this so much, so let's see if we can go back to something similar to what we had before. This is where you have fun. It's like, no, I like that. No, I don't like that. This is a good thing. And then let me look at this. Something in between. That guy was starting to bother me though. So I'll put this here. You know what I need is one more cork. I'll be right back. Okay, I found another one. Scrounge one up. Perfecto. Okay, good. So now that I've figured out my composition, I'm going to get my things that are I'm not using after all out of the way. Okay. Just so they're not distracting me. And then I'm going to glue all these down. So again, it's with the glue you don't need a ton. It's actually better to have less. Less is more with glue. So I'm actually going to take out this entire row. Just remember where you had everything. I'm going to glue this one down first. So I'm going to put just the line of glue around the back. Okay. And I'm going to stick it back down again where it was. I'm going to glue this guy in place next because he's kind of anchored back there. And for this, because it's going up against the side of the box, my lid, and it's going against that. I'm just going to put it on these sides. You can also put a line on the bottom too. But you notice I'm putting the glue on the thing I'm gluing down, not onto the box bottom, because you want to make sure the glue goes exactly where you need it. Okay. Then I'm going to stick it in there. Okay. And then I'm going to press this up a little bit so it squishes there. I'll make sure I didn't press it up too much. Nope, just about there. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing with these guys too. I'm going to put a little glue along the bottom. And they're going to be touching each other on the side, so that'll help to glue them together. I'm just going to put a little strip on both sides. So a little glue on the bottom. And a little glue on one side. Okay. And of course you're going to have your own materials that you're working with. So you're going to have to figure all these things out on your own, what you're going to do with these things. Okay. So let me continue just gluing these down. Glue, 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 glue. Getting it on the bottom, getting it on the outside, and then squishing it together here. See how they're going to squish together and they'll help them to glue down to one another. And then here's my last one. Okay. These. So it's, you notice that it was fun to play around with them, and it's also really you learn new things. Oops, I got a little glue on this guy. I don't know how much that really matters. Okay, so I'm going to move these guys out of the way. So I'm just doing this methodically so I don't lose where I had things. Okay, I'm going to stick the glue on the bottom of this. Okay. Press down. Okay. I'm just going one thing at a time. Yeah, if your hands get a little gluey, if you do this, it helps to keep them a little less gluey. Okay, we'll line it on the bottom of this. One, press it down. The nice thing about this is you're working flat, so you don't have to, glue does take pressure and time, but because of the way you're working, I'm going to glue the corks down first and I'm going to glue this guy last. Wait, yeah, he was here. I'm going to have to scooch this down a little. Gravity will be your friend for that. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to, again, because this is kind of filling in that space and also giving me a new texture, I'm going to glue that one at the end. All right, so once I have all these down, you're gonna be wondering why I have that string there. And the string we can use to make little embellishments. Give some other texture, because again, we're not using scrap wood, we're not using turned wood like she did. We are going to be using, we just have these smooth, flat surfaces. So what I can do, now I have everybody stuck down, making sure I don't have any empty spaces. Okay, push this out a little bit. Okay, all my spaces are filled. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my string, I'm going to cut off a little piece of the string, and I can use it to create like little designs on top of these things to give them a little more depth. And see, if I make this string this long, so I don't just have flat, round things. And what I can do to do that, what I'm going to do is and I want this to be like an S, like a little curvy line. So I'm going to draw that curvy line with the glue. And then I'm going to stick the glue down here, stick the string down, and I'm just pressing it with my finger and turning. So pressing with my finger, turning. So pressing with your finger, and you're just pressing the top of the string or the yarn. So you shouldn't get too much glue on your fingers, but hey, if you do. And oh, I cut that one a little short, but we're not going to worry about that. I have more. I'm just going to reconnect it. So it's okay if you do that. And then I'll go here, and then I can go, now I know exactly where to cut. Okay, oops. I know where to cut though. So let me cut it. Don't cut your fingers. Just cut the string. Okay. And we're gonna go like that. Oh, I still made it a little long. So now that I had to handle it, I got my fingers a little goopy. But that's okay. And you see how I can add these little textural things to the top. Let me see if I can do that this time. Alright. It doesn't want to hold on. Okay. Alright, so this is going to happen to you. Like the string's going to stick to your fingers and not to the box. And that's okay. You just get it off. Then I put the string down and I'm going to rub my fingers again. And that'll get all that stickiness off of your fingers. Like so. Okay, and you can also use the back of your nail too. Alright, so I got one embellishment on one. Let me pull out some string. And I think these are all going to have a similar curvy S thing. So let me put those on there. Again, that'll create some pattern. It'll create what we call a little bit of a visual rhythm. But it also gives us more dimension. Okay. And then I have a little tip there. Chip. And these little extra pieces we could glue like just as little accent things along here if you wanted to. Okay, and then one more on here. Since these are all part of its own, the same structure, they're going to have the same. So you know what to do if you have it too long, and now you know what to do if you have it too short. So see how I'm just tracing the glue line with the yarn, like so. And then I just need to cut this bit off. And see how I was able to create a little bit of an embellishment with a visual rhythm? Like so. Ew, and what if I put a little curve to it? That might actually make it even more fun. Okay, I'm gonna put a little curve to it. Yeah, let's curve this one too. You just have to go with the flow and play with it. Okay, now that we have everything glued down, now we have to make it monochromatic. And if you don't have black paint or white paint or green paint or any color paint, but you do have some of these grocery bags, what you can do is I'm going to cut and I want the white part, right? Because again, we want it to be monochromatic. If I use the front, it's got writing on it. So I'm just going to cut out, I'm just going to show you one patch at a time. You can cut out the whole back of it. I'm not going to do my whole thing with this white, so I'm just going to show you an example of it. So see how I cut this out? And then what I can do is put glue on the whole thing, and then I can adhere it down like this. And you're going to have to like rub it into the spaces and make sure it's covered. And you see how that actually covers up the thing. And so you can actually just do that with the paper towel. I mean, sorry, the plastic bag. And of course you want to trim that off. So you can actually just put the glue down on top of this and then put it down. You get this little bitty off there. Okay. So you just glue there and then smooth it on. And just make sure you go through and really smooth it so it sticks to the bottom. And if you're doing this technique and you're using the bag instead of glue, the plastic recyclables will probably work a little better. It's just because you don't have to have the glue sticking to it. So you can see how that actually covers up the thing. And if you do this through the whole project, you're going to have a solid white piece. And I would actually start with the big part, right? So because you can just stick that right over the top and then it'll glue down. But you've got to really rub it in so it does that. Okay. So now that we have everything glued down, get this out of the way. Okay, and you saw the alternative you can use, and it doesn't have to, again, if whatever color bag you have. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this whole thing black. That's going to be the last step. So I have my artist palette here, but if you don't have an artist palette, that's okay. I'm sure you have something lying around, or any kind of paint you have, remember. I need a little bit of water to get it activated. I don't want to have too much water. And I'm going to start painting. You probably want a pretty big brush for this because you're just covering the whole area. I would suggest you letting the glue dry before you start painting, because that might actually, the painting might actually move your pieces. So I'm going to get the pieces, the areas that I didn't glue down. I'm going to do those first, just to give those areas a little bit of a chance to dry a little bit while I'm painting. So that's my strategy. I'm starting with that. Okay, and you want to get everything. I don't want to have any white spots sticking out. You want a nice solid black. Getting underneath all those crevices and getting in the corners. I'm like shoving my brush into the corners to make sure I get all those white spots. And again, I'm targeting the areas I didn't make embellishments on first. So I'm painting around them right now. Okay, and then I'm going to go for my corks. Okay, so it's time for you guys to hit the pause button and go and make your own. Come back to me when you are done and go. Okay, well, I hope you guys had a lot of fun making these. As you noticed, every time I look at this, I find another little spot that I missed. So keep making sure you look at it from every possible angle because you're going to find things you missed. But here you go. Hope you had a lot of fun and that you made it nice and monochromatic. So find somebody in your home who you can talk to or write down how does a piece change once you make it monochromatic? What happens to it? What's so different about it when it's monochromatic as opposed to when you had all those different elements that you could see? And what was the most challenging part of kind of finding balance and technique within this? And what are you going to do next? Now that you know how to do this, I hope you make more. Use up those recyclables and have fun with them because you can make a whole wall panel out of them. That would be fun. So happy art making, stay safe, and I will see you next time.